Hi guys, Dan Hendrickson here at Torquay Golf Club, hashtag Ask Dan. I'm going to do a little compare for you today. I've got two 3-woods that I want to be testing. We're going to have a look at the Callaway Epic Flash, just the standard one, not the Sub-Zero. And we're going to be putting it up against the MIZUNO ST190. Both beautiful looking golf clubs. Let's hit some balls, let's get some numbers, give you some ideas of how they look, how they feel, and then report the numbers into you. Let's hit some shots. So just looking at the technology that we've got with this ST190 by Mizuno, I've got the standard loft, which would be 15 degrees for this particular head. Then I can move it up by 1 degree and then 2 degrees, so I can move this to 17 degrees in loft. I can then also move it slightly more upright, and I can also obviously let it go a little bit flatter depending on how I want this club to kind of sit on the ground, which is quite a good thing. And then obviously I can move the loft down by 1 degree and 2 degrees as well. So I can actually move this from sort of 17 degrees right the way down to 13 degrees in loft, depending on what you want to try and get from your spin numbers. It just enables you to be able to dial that in a fraction more. On the bottom, we've got that wave technology. We've seen this with a number of their products right the way through with drivers, and then we've got a weight port in the back here again, just trying to move that CG as far back away from the face as they can. Just looking at the face of the club, a very dark finish, so black finish in this particular one. Grooves either side of center, so we're not getting any grooves in the middle. Looking at the top of the club, beautiful looking head. Looking down at this carbon sort of feel on top here, so looking down, nice carbon feel there, and then a blend of the black blending into it with a little bit of white lipstick that runs around the back. A stunning looking club when I look down at it. Yeah, nice solid feel off the face, not too tinny, but just a nice feel off the face of that one, sort of crisp feel. So when I look down at this club, it looks kind of quite flat. The face looks very, very flat, not that usual kind of roll and bulge kind of feel looking down at it. It might be just the black finish on the face compared to the top line. Definitely feels like it's a lot squarer, so I feel that that could probably give a lot of players a lot of confidence with feeling that they've got a lot more maybe control over the actual face itself, keeping it as square as it possibly can. So looking at the Epic Flash head, we can see we've got jailbreak technology in this particular one. Again, weight port push back, so very similar to what we're seeing in the Mizuno. We're seeing grooves either side, exactly the same from what we're getting in the Mizuno, but again, very clean in the front of the club, so right in the middle of the club, it's very clean. What I do love about this club is this little circular sort of disc in the middle of the club there, which helps you able to frame the ball up to the center point of that club. I think this is fantastic because I see so many players coming in that are setting it up more in the toe, more in the heel, not aware that they're doing it, but if you just give them something to focus on down at the face, I think it really does help them. Looking down at the club as well, we've got that carbon crown. I mean, it's almost identical to what I'm seeing in the Mizuno. Nice carbon finish on the top here, and then that blend of black running into that carbon. Again, a little bit of lipstick that runs around the back of the club. The Mizuno being in the white finish, this one being in the sort of green and yellow finish, but very, very, very similar clubs. So if we look at the neck as well to see what we can actually dial in on, this one again, set exactly the same as what I'm getting in the Mizuno, 15 degrees in loft, so I can move the loft up by 1 degree and 2 degrees, so I can move it to 17 degrees, and I can also move it down to 14 degrees, only allowing me to move it just that one extra notch down, which the Mizuno seems to be able to produce a 13 degree. This can only go to 14 by the look of it. The visual it's almost identical when I look down at it. It looks very, very similar to what I'm getting with that Mizuno. That's that lipstick, and maybe that lipstick around the back, and maybe that sort of carbon top is just making it sort of look very, very similar down at the ball. One thing I do like about the Callaway, maybe just over the Mizuno, is just I'm looking down now, I kind of prefer the look of the silver face over the black face. I don't know kind of why that is, but I feel like I've got, I can sort of see the contrast between the face and the top of the club, and it just probably feels like I can align the club up maybe just that little bit easier. And I'm definitely liking that center point. I've talked about that before in previous videos, that I really like the circle down at the bottom part or in the face here. It just enables me to really zone that golf ball right into the middle of the face, which I know a lot of people kind of a struggle with. Feels off the face, maybe just a fraction tinnier than what I'm getting out of the Mizuno. The Mizuno maybe feeling just that fraction firmer. Doesn't bother me either way. I'd be quite happy to sort of game either of these clubs. Looking down, they feel weight-wise, everything feels pretty much the same. So I've hit 5 shots with each club. Let's have a little look at the numbers and see what they're getting. Okay, so if we start off with Mizuno at the top here, and then Callaway down the bottom here, you can see ball speed to start with, 148.5 with the Mizuno compared to 147. So a little bit hotter off the face, and we'll look at why that is in just a moment. Launch angles, 10-degree launch with the Mizuno compared to 10.8, so within 0.7 of each other. Spin, there's definitely a difference in spin here. We got 3.3 with the Mizuno compared to 3.6 with the Callaway. If we come over to peak heights, we've got 29 yards high with the Mizuno compared to 31 yards high on an average with the Callaway. So we've got lower launch, lower spin, and obviously a lower flight. We've got higher launch, higher spin, higher flight. So look at the difference in distance. So 238 carry on an average with the Mizuno compared to 233 average with the Callaway. Best to best, 240, but 240s there with the Mizuno compared to 234 with the Callaway. Definitely that spin, that higher launch, that higher spin is really stalling the ball a little bit with the Callaway over the Mizuno. Let's just look at club data, because this is always a good one. So look at my club head speed with both is identical, 102.8 to 102.7, but both down on the ball, 0.1 degree out to in compared to 0.5 degrees in to out. So again, nothing in it from that point of view. Let's look at loft. So I'm getting 19.3 degrees of loft compared to 21.5 degrees of loft with the Callaway. So this one, bearing in mind they're both 15 degrees in loft, this one is just coming in with a slightly different loft than what the Callaway is coming in. Is that to do with strike? Well, not really, because if you look, I'm 2 millimeters in the toe with the Mizuno, 1 millimeters high, and I'm exactly the same on an average of 2 millimeters in the toe and 1 millimeter high with the Callaway. So definitely a slight difference there in where I'm what's happening with the club. So some really good numbers. Both those clubs felt absolutely fantastic. They're beautiful looking clubs to look down on. They're slightly different in the fact that their faces are just slightly different. When you look down on them, you can see that there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say copying going on there, but there's certainly some consistencies with both of them. The big difference is obviously looking down and seeing the face on them. The Mizuno being a black face, the Callaway being more of a sort of steel or silver face looking down. I gotta say that I like the look of the Callaway over the Mizuno purely based on the fact that I prefer to look down at that sort of difference in between the face of the Callaway moving from silver into the black head. Let me know what you think. Have you been out and tested these two clubs? What sort of results have you been kind of getting from them? Put your comments down below. Let me know how you've got on. I can't call it. This one is a difficult one. I'm sitting on the fence with this one. I can't even call it. I like them both. I think they both have great qualities with them. They look very similar, so there's not a great deal of difference from that. But they feel just that slightly different, and I could game either of that. But let me know, how do you feel with this one? Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to keep sending in your questions, #AskDan, and I'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.